My name is Manami Kurosawa. I'm a 27-year-old housewife. This time, I'd like to tell you about some trouble that occurred involving my neighbors. It's been 6 months since my husband, Tomio, and I got married. He's the same age as me, and since he changed jobs, he's been allowed to use one of the apartments owned by his company. So we've been living there together. We greeted our neighbors on the day that we moved in. One of them was Erika Wakamiya, a woman who seemed as though she were the same age as me. I found out later that her husband was Tomio's direct manager. If we had any trouble with our neighbors, I thought that it could affect his work environment, so I felt a bit tense. But she seemed like a really frank and open person after talking to her for a while. She was just 2 years older than me, and I think we got on quite well. We began to chat more often when we saw each other in the hallways. She's already lived here for a year, so she knew a lot of the people that were living in the apartments. She was the one that introduced me to the other residents, so I was able to fit in more easily thanks to her. One month after moving in, I had made more friends and was able to live comfortably every day. One day, Erika called me on the phone to invite me to have lunch.
We're going to have a tea party with all the ladies. Would you like to come as well?
Of course, I accepted the invitation. Myself, Erika, and 4 or 5 other women would be going to a cafe nearby to have coffee. For about 3 hours, we enjoyed coffees, cakes, and conversation. We decided beforehand that we would split the bill evenly, but...
Huh? That's strange. I can't find my purse.
Erika had been looking around in her bag and suddenly announced that she didn't have her purse. She turned towards me and...
I'm sorry. It looks like I forgot my purse. I'm really sorry, but could you pay for me?
At the time, I didn't think anything of it. Of course, I can pay. I only thought that she was surprisingly quite clumsy, but... A few weeks later... Ever since I had met Erika several times, but it was too awkward. No matter how much I waited and waited, she hadn't paid me back for the cafe bill. I thought she had just forgotten. After that tea party, we had gone out to have lunch with just the 2 of us. But again, she said that she didn't have any change on her, and I paid for the both of us. She didn't make any sign of returning the money I had paid. It wasn't a large amount, but that wasn't the problem. I couldn't bring myself to tell her to pay me back. It was unfair and unreasonable, but I could only give up. I didn't want to make a fuss over money. After making up my mind, I was relaxing at home when I got a message from Miss Takematsu, one of the wives that joined us for the tea party a few weeks earlier. Hey, do you have some time? Yeah, what is it? It's been bothering me, so I wanted to check. But you paid for Erika the day when we went to have coffee, right? Yeah, I did. It's a bit rude of me, but did she pay you back? No, it looks like she's forgotten. I thought so. Have you had the same thing happen to you? Yeah, that day was the first time we all went as a group. Oh, really? Everyone has gone out to have lunch or coffee with Erika in their own time, privately. But she's never paid for herself. Not once? I thought it was just me, but when I saw that she asked you to pay, I wondered if she might have done the same to the others. I asked them and everyone said the same thing. I know that she's not a bad person, but she doesn't like to spend money. So she didn't just forget. She's just going to leave it unpaid. But it's too awkward to ask her to pay it back. That's why you should be careful from now on. Yes, I will. Her husband's really young, but has gotten so successful. I wonder why she's doing something like this. Thank you for your warning. I was convinced by what Miss Takematsu had told me. For example, Tomio and I went to visit my parents' house a few days during the summer. When I came back, I brought a souvenir for Erika. A few days later, I heard that Erika and her husband had gone on holiday, but I didn't get a souvenir in return. Thinking back, there were several times that I invited Erika over to have coffee at my apartment, but I'd never been invited to hers. It's not like I expected her to give something back, and I felt that I was a bit shallow for complaining over something so fickle, but I couldn't help but feel bothered by it. I ended up complaining to my husband, asking for advice. And that's it. It's been bothering me. It's not that I want it all back, but it doesn't feel great. Do you get it?
Yeah, I get what you're trying to say.
Sorry for bothering you in the middle of work. I just wanted to get it off my shoulders.
I'm on my lunch break, so it's okay. I didn't think his wife was that stingy.
You said it, even though I did my best not to.
There's no point beating around the bush.
Yeah. Do you mean that her husband isn't stingy at all?
Yeah. If anything, he's really generous. Few of us went out for drinks, but he took the bill. Sometimes when we go to lunch, he even pays for us.
That's a surprise.
He's an efficient worker at work, and he doesn't act all arrogant. I feel like I'm really lucky to have a manager like him.
But his wife is like that, huh? Maybe she's just making up for how much he spends.
I wonder. It doesn't seem like he spends that much money on himself. Whenever we drink, he doesn't stay out too late. He's always talking about his wife, so he's really in love.
The more I hear about him, the more wonderful he seems.
He really is. He's really popular with his managers and his subordinates.
What should I do about his wife?
You don't have to force yourself to hang out with her. Just keep her at arm's length.
So I felt more and more distrusting of Erika. I was complaining about her more and more with the other wives. Everyone else couldn't bear her any longer, and soon we were all avoiding her. It became an unspoken agreement that whenever we went out to have dinner, we wouldn't call Erika. It was a shame, but if we did call her, someone would have to pay for her. Erika herself seemed to realize that, and wouldn't call out to us as proactively as before. I sometimes noticed how lonely she looked and felt guilty, but one day, my husband and I were in the living room, spending time together when the doorbell rang. It was quite late at night, so we wondered who it could be. Erika? Erika stood in her doorway, her expression lifeless. She was pale, and with just one look, I could tell what had happened. We decided to welcome her inside. So we let her in, sat her down, and gave her some tea. She had been silent all the while, so it surprised me when she opened her mouth. But all that came out were weeps and sobs. At first, I thought she was hurt by our alienation, but...
Please help me! I can't live like this anymore!
She began to beg as she bowed her head and cried.
My name is Erika Wakamiya. I'm a 29-year-old housewife. Eiichi, my husband, is 8 years older than me and works as a section manager. We live in an apartment building maintained by his company. I was born into a family that ran a subcontract factory building parts for cars and such. We weren't that rich, but I think that we were able to live without any worries. I met my husband when I was in university. He was already working in the company he still works for today, and he came to my father's company to make orders from some parts. I happened to meet him then when my father introduced us. After that, he approached me in private, and we began dating. He was very kind, a gentleman, and I thought he was a wonderful man at the time. While I was still in university, he proposed. And we got married once I graduated. It was favorable for my father's company, so everyone was very supportive of us. Like this, I was fresh out of university and already plunged into married life. This was the beginning of hell for me. Have you seen my phone? No matter where I look, I can't find it. I'm using the laptop to contact you.
Oh, yeah! Sorry, I forgot to tell you. Open the box in the living room.
This is a new phone, isn't it?
Yeah, it's yours. I bought it yesterday to match mine.
Thank you, I'm so happy. But I'm looking for my old phone.
I got rid of it.
Huh? Do you mean you threw it away?
You don't mind, right? It's an old phone.
Yeah, but I need to back up the data first.
Was there something you wanted to keep?
Contacts, photos, and stuff.
I moved the photos to my phone. And you don't need those contacts anymore, right?
What?
You're my wife now. You can throw away your old relationships, right?
Oh, stop joking around. You're scaring me.
Scary? What is?
Huh? Are you serious?
Of course I am. It's only natural, right? You're the one seeing weird things. By the way, did you just leave the house?
Yeah, I thought I'd go buy a cover for the new phone. How did you know?
I had GPS turned on your phone.
This is just one way he began to trap me. The second we got married, he had completely changed. He really was tracking me, was keeping an eye on my every move. He didn't allow me to leave the house after 6 p.m. And he wouldn't let me meet with friends. Whenever I tried to leave the house, he would bombard me with phone calls. His possessiveness grew more and more daily. He wouldn't let me hold money or a credit card. He would only give me money for groceries when I needed it, and would make me hand over receipts for him to check. I couldn't leave the house unless I was with him, and that tortured me. I became emotionally unstable because of the stress and thought I was going insane. The only thing I was allowed to do was to go out with the wives that were living in the same apartment block. Of course, only during the day. Going out with the other ladies was the only time I could relax. But in the end, I lost that too. No wonder. Nobody would want to hang out with a woman that would make them pay for her every time they went out. If anything, I'm surprised they allowed me to do it for so long. I lost the only thing I could live for and tried asking my husband for some money. If I could have some more money for myself, it'd be a great help. Can you think about it? Then he said,
What? Do you want to use it on a new boyfriend or something? I worked hard and made that money. Who the hell do you think you are?
He lost his temper and hit me.
Erika told us everything. She was punched yesterday and somehow managed to apologize and calm him down, but she could no longer bear it and thought that her only chance was now when he was on a business trip and came for us to help. Even though I didn't know about her situation, I apologized for doing something so horrible to her. Now I knew. I couldn't just turn her away. But watching her weep and beg, I didn't know what we could do. The situation was too complicated, so I tried asking her. Can't your family help you? I'd wonder if she couldn't go back to her parents' house and use a lawyer as a middleman after that, but she shook her head. Her family's business was some contract for her husband's company, so if the contract was canceled, it would deal a large blow to her father's company. I only found out when she told us. But H.E. was apparently the son of one of the company's officials, so he had a lot of power. If things didn't go well, her father's business might be forced to go bankrupt. When I heard that, I made up my mind. Understood, let's do something. Erika looked confused as I made a call to a certain person. I didn't want to use this method, but a few days later, H.E. came back from his business trip and came to our apartment. I had explained Erika's desire for a divorce to him, but the second he saw me, he only smiled.
I'm sorry my wife has caused you so much trouble. We'll go home and talk about it.
He was polite, but spoke that he wanted us to hand Erika over, who was standing quietly next to me. That's when a man came out from the back of the room.
Good to see you, H.E. I didn't want to meet you here. CEO? Why? Why are you here?
This is Fumiya Kaneda. He's the CEO of the company that H.E. and my husband work at. He's my father. I guess I'm a rich man's daughter. You might wonder why I'm living in a small apartment leased out by my husband's company. My husband's from a normal middle-class family. He doesn't have a spectacular education or a career. But I really do love him, and I really did want to marry him. But like I said, our positions were way too different. My father wasn't happy with our engagement, but I did everything I could to convince him. Tomio said he would do anything, and as a result...
Then you should work at my company. You have to hide that you're my son-in-law, and promise that you'll be successful enough to take care of my daughter by yourself.
This was my father's condition for our marriage. Because of this, my husband changed jobs to my father's company. Only a few people know about it, so I'm not surprised that H.E. didn't know. Back to the present, my father announced his decision to the panicked H.E.
It's a shame. I thought you were an excellent employee, but I can't keep you on.
Of course, H.E. was extremely panicked.
Please, wait a moment! I don't know what she told you, but it's just a silly fight!
He rushed towards Erika.
Right? We can sort this out by ourselves, right?
I guess this is how he usually dealt with things, but Erika was different this time.
No, it's impossible! There's something wrong with you!
She shouted, as though she had unleashed all of her emotions on him. And my father...
And that's that. I'll tell you the details later. Please, wait! This is just between me and my wife! You can't fire me!
My father sighed, as though he had had enough, and...
You haven't just been horrible to your wife, have you?
Continued speaking quietly. It seems that H.E. had been using his own powers to force women to have sexual affairs with him. Using this an insidious tactic, he had already laid hands on several women, but none of them had been able to sue him. But a few weeks later, a victim had finally used up her courage and spoken out. Because of this, his actions had come to light. It was only a matter of course that he would be fired. By the time I'd called my father, that decision had already been made. He said that he would talk with him about that too, and came to visit us. Like that, H.E. lost his job with no buts. Erika and his victims all demanded compensation, and he lost all of his fortune and his savings. Erika was able to move back home and redo her life. Even now, we sometimes meet to have a chat. We're back to being good friends. With the money she received from H.E., she took me on a trip to a 5-star hotel with a spa. She said that it was for all the trouble she had caused and for saving her life.